I had originally planned to sit down to write something self-satisfactory and ego-inflating, but I don't think that ends up serving either of us or any of us quite well. I say either of us. It's not like there's anyone actually going to be listening to this. Anyway, one second. Alright, I'm realizing that life is all about perspective, and I'm starting to also realize that means that in some people I'll simply be in the recesses of their mind screaming up, hoping to be acknowledged, never to be. Whereas other people, I am at the forefront of their mind at any given time. And these people I end up taking for granted, which is really kind of an abysmal thing to do, because these are the people that are the most important to me. These are the people that I can see and feel and touch, and I often go days, weeks, months, sometimes years without actually doing so, because I am too much in my own head and not enough in the moment, and I'm trying to be more actively in the moment, but it's difficult. But that said, nothing worth doing is easy, is it? So the apparent difficulty of something doesn't inherently make it wrong or right, and it's only difficult based on your perspective, really. So ultimately, it's not about doing difficult things, it's about overcoming yourself, and it's about doing things that are hard or impossible from your perspective, and then proving to yourself that you can in fact do them. Recently, I've been trying to force myself out of my comfort zone, and it has been absolutely, I guess, not miraculous would be the word, but like revolutionary. And it's largely been thanks to the people that I've had who've been actually willing to stay around for me, despite the fact that I've been not necessarily the best friend to them and not necessarily present in their lives. However, they've still been there to support me, despite everything, because I guess I've made some really good friends along the way. I'm still trying to make more friends in the local vicinity, because I don't feel it's fair to always rely on people who aren't always physically there to outsource your problems to. They've got their own problems to worry about that don't necessarily involve me. And like, I've got one friend who has started a family, and he still has time for me because he's a very good friend. I've got another friend who went through the armed services, and he's having difficulty finding a job, and I can still text him at any given moment and just get his opinions on things. I'm very thankful for these good friends, even if I haven't. I need to speak to them and tell them how thankful I am for them, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow, and I've been taking advantage of them for so long. But it's one of those things where they would probably say, there's no need to thank me. This is simply something I do. This is something that I've done for years. Why would you start thanking me now? And I guess it's because I'm starting to realize that I wasn't exactly a good person. And I wasn't exactly the person I thought I was. And I'm not still the person I think I am. I'm constantly a person who is changing. Everybody's changing. Oh, but imperceptibly for some, and for others, it is the hardest thing that they do. Change is always coming, and people always resist change to their utmost extent that they possibly can, aside from people who start trying to get out ahead of themselves and start realizing that if they don't change, they will be stuck in the past. And if they're stuck in the past, well, guess what? Nothing's going to change. So I've got a friend who had been stuck in the past for a good long time, and now he is starting to live in the now, and I think he's happier. He appears happier to me and to most people, which is good. But I wish to be more than I am. Therefore, I need to go outside of what would normally encompass me. And I have been. It's taken a while, everything seems to be going so incredibly slow, but that's because I'm trying to be so patient. I'm trying to pace myself moving forward so as to not risk too much, but also not risk too little. It is the most confidently anyone can ever approach anything, and I'm still terrified half the time. Today I got called into work. I have 3 hours to prepare, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous for a 3-hour shift of work. Why? Because it's change. It's not about the difference. It's not about the work. It's not about what they're expecting of me. It's what I'm expecting of myself. And I'm expecting to have to perform to a standard that I am not ready to perform to yet, even though nobody is going to actually hold me to that. Nobody but myself. That is basically the modus operandi of this job, is that you are often your harshest critic. You are often the limiting factor keeping you from advancing. You end up becoming something different from what you were when you started, which is a good thing. It's going to be a very challenging situation. I'm not arguing that. But it's challenging for me specifically, and it's challenging because I want it to be challenging. I want this to be one of the things that stimulates me in ways that other things cannot. And this job has been that. And I should be incredibly thankful, and I am incredibly thankful. This has been one of the best opportunities of my life and helped me become better than I am. But I still feel like I need to do more. And I'm also feeling like that I ultimately can't necessarily change certain things about myself, even though I'm physically changing every day. Every day is a new adventure. Every day is a new challenge. Every day is a new set of circumstances. And every day I'm a slightly different person from who I was yesterday. Because today I went out and physically did something for myself, as opposed to trying to go and do something because others told me to. I made a decision, I went to go do something, and I had a good time. And it has been literally years since I've done something that wasn't simply for my own betterment, that was instead for the sake of doing it. It was incredibly liberating. It was arguably one of the best days of my life in the last couple of years, and it was because I allowed myself to be myself. I need to do that much more often moving forward. It's, however, terrifying to do. And, I mean, there's a certain utility in fear. But the amount of fear that I've been facing had been crippling me. In the interest of becoming a stronger person, you need to incorporate all of your feelings. Every single one of these feelings that I have felt throughout my life, and the ones that I'm feeling currently, are a symptom. And once I integrate these feelings into my being and fully incorporate what it means to be me, what it means to be alive, what it means to be willing to use the resources I have rather than stockpiling them because I feel somebody else who will have a better idea as to what to do with them will come along and say, oh, just do this. That's not going to happen. There's not some magical mystery going to unfold itself. Nobody's going to say, oh, you've got $1,000, here, go invest it in this particular bond, you'll be rich in 5 years. You need to take agency over your own life. And I'm very slowly shifting into that role, an active role rather than a passive role in my own life. And it's terrifying, but it's enthralling, it's thrilling, it's exciting. Life is exciting again. I have energy. I have the feeling of wanting to do things. I have the desire to go on, despite the fact that I know the world is a terrifying and sometimes terrible place. My world specifically has only been as terrible as I've allowed it to be. And I've allowed it to be plenty terrible because I thought that that was what I deserved. But everybody around me is saying that I've put myself through enough torture. And now it's time, instead, to live. Not in fear, but just simply live. Sometimes the answer is that there is no answer. And instead, you simply need to live. You need to be. You need to go. You need to do. You need to create. You need to be the you that you've always wanted to be, and you've always limited yourself from doing because you've been afraid. You need to be the you that you've been afraid of since childhood because of the things that you had done that you embarrassed people or you hurt people. And so you decided to never do those things again because you didn't want to be the person who hurt people. That doesn't necessarily keep you away from pain. That keeps you, in fact, in a state of uselessness, which then makes you much more susceptible to pain. A useless person is somebody that is helpless, and a helpless person means they will be ending up in situations where, if danger arises, they will end up flat on their back, useless for it. I don't want to be that person, and I don't want the person that I end up with to rely on a person who is weak. I don't want to be used anymore. And I allowed myself to be used because of my weakness. And I started to think that I should use others because of my weakness. But no, I need to rely on myself. And the way that I rely on myself is to get stronger and move forward, to make myself stand up, to stop laying down and taking things, and instead stand up and make them.